Despite facing a crisis in Africa and massive domestic protests, somehow, amazingly, France still has time to obsess over women's clothing. The French education minister has announced a banning in schools of the abaya, a modest full-length style of dress worn by Muslim women and girls. France claims that the move is to keep schools secular, arguing the garment easily identifies people as Muslims. If France thinks that female clothing threatens the country's so-called values, then it might be time to question exactly what those values actually are. Christian crosses, Jewish keepers are also officially banned by schools. Some have argued, however, that the rules are not fairly enforced across the board, suggesting that Muslims are specifically targeted. In 2004, France also banned the wearing of headscarves in schools traditionally worn by many Muslims. The banning of the abaya for many, however, is less about secularism and everything to do with growing Islamophobia and growing anti-Muslim sentiment. The French government has decided that the abaya is a sign of the Muslim faith. According to the French Council of Muslim Faith, however, made up of actual Muslims, items of clothing are not necessarily a sign of religion. So, if that's the case, then what exactly is the ban all about if only a tiny percentage of students wear the abaya and debate continues about its religious connotations? In recent years, Muslims have increasingly been criminalized by the state, including in schools, with clampdowns on pro-Palestinian views, BDS and other issues important to the Muslim diaspora. Historically, France decimated and attacked Muslim communities all across North Africa and the Middle East. In recent times, huge protests erupted after a Muslim teenager Nahal M was brutally shot and killed by a French police officer in Paris. This is the wider context to the latest banning on Muslim clothing, and at best, the timing of the move is completely tone deaf. At worst, the new ruling, targeting a tiny minority of Muslim girls, is an open goal to the far right and an unnecessary clampdown on a community already marginalized and treated with contempt. Is France really concerned with secularism? Or is the banning of the abaya simply a case of France pivoting even further to the right along with the rest of Europe?